Welcome, everybody, to Lucky number 13, episode number 13 of Understable Minds. My name is Anthony. His name's Eric.
What's up?
His name's AJ. Man behind the curtain's name is Danny. Danny's kind of our producer, running everything. We'll chime in with some good stuff for us every once in a while. AJ, Eric, how you guys doing?
Doing well. A little tired. I had a busy weekend.
Very busy.
Busy weekend.
Yeah. A lot of emotions over the last few days.
Yeah, for real.
Just leave it very ominous.
Just leave it at that.
It's just been emotional.
It's just been very emotional.
Very,
Lots of emotions.
very emotional.
No, it's been great.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about yesterday, I guess, first?
Yeah.
So AJ, Doug, and I got in the car at, let's see, I picked AJ up at what time?
4:30.
4:30 in the morning.
AM.
And we drove to Eagles Crossing to check out that course. So we pretty much just walked it, checked out the property, met the owner. Dave was there. Dave McCormick, owner of Gateway Discs, was there. He's actually the course designer. And I've heard a lot of hype about this course from players. Anybody that has played it that I've seen so far has said it's amazing. It's one of their favorite courses. And what really stuck with me is when Eagle McMahon said that this was his favorite course after playing after him. You know, I mean, sure. If that's what you want to believe, that's perfectly fine. But,
that's what I've heard.
But going there, I was a little skeptical on hearing some of the feedback on it until I actually got to the property and walked it. And it's like, goodness, this place is amazing. This place is and will be the best course in the world.
Really?
I truly believe that. The owner, I don't know if he wants to know how much money's been poured into this, but he's thrown about $1 million into this course.
Wow.
And so you guys have played wooded courses before. He was there, so he knows this, but you've played wooded courses before, and you know how most of the time when they go and take woods out, it's usually like a dirt fairways, or, you know, it's pretty scrubby.
Right.
Not this place. Like, he went in and like just ripped up the fairways. He did everything, and then poured sod, planted seed. I mean, there's grass growing in the woods. I mean, it's insane. Is
there anything that you can compare it to? Does it feel similar, or does it feel like a completely different?
So we talked a little bit about that. I think a little bit of both. I think it does have its own feel to it walking on the property, but it had kind of a bit of a Maple Hill vibe.
Yes.
Okay. But longer.
Yeah, what we
bigger.
said was Maple Hill, but just like, stretched out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and Harmony Bends is somewhat close by.
Yeah.
And it felt a little bit like that because of the elevation change, like the undulations.
It felt like a well manicured Harmony Bends.
And
without
also
the flooding.
stretched out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well manicured. No flooding, and there were ponds.
Like 9 ponds?
Yeah, rather than a creek or river.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But I would time and time again, I would look around, and we are in the woods, and I guess because it's winter, the trees are bare, but I would look around and I could just tell like how much space was out there, and it was a lot of space.
Yeah.
And that was accentuated by the elevation change. So there's like some of these big wooded courses. Iron Hill comes to mind.
Iron Hill, yeah.
It's pretty flat, relatively flat. This Eagles Crossing had a lot of ups and downs.
Lots of undulation, I would say.
So
lots of OB, lots of dinosaurs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
Legit dinosaurs on the property. It was insane.
Yeah. It's also Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Is where they filmed all this.
It is. It absolutely is. No.
It is inanimate dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah. I highly recommend it if they're open, for one, because I know it's a private pay-to-play course. If they're open and you're close, just even traveling down I-70, it's worth the 30 to 60 minute there and back detour.
Yeah. It's a destination course.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any idea like the total distance or anything?
I don't know the distance of it. I know it's a par 70, I believe is what I was told.
I want to say either Dave or Phil said 13,000 feet.
I believe it because
Wow.
thinking back at the holes, like the par threes, like it's almost a full on driver shot.
Yeah, they were
Like-
pushing 4 on some of the shorter par threes.
Yeah.
A lot of those
Some
were
of the
downhill.
shorter
Sure.
par threes.
It's just right. That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
It was 13,000 feet is no joke. Like 11,000 feet is averaging 550 feet per hole.
Right.
So 13,000, like it's going to be closer to 6.
Well,
and there were a handful of 900 and 800 footers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Emporia Country Club it's right around 10,000.
10, I think. Just
and hole
just
1
over.
is 10% of that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like on that course, there's less than 5 where I'm like, okay, I can reach this.
Mm-hmm.
And this
It's like
is
3,000 country
feet
club,
further.
but maybe
Wow.
a little longer and a bunch more trees.
Is it just woods start to finish, or are there kind of
No, there's a couple. There's hole 1.
Mhm.
There's no trees on hole 1. There's no trees on hole. There's like one tree by the basket on hole 10. But where there's no trees, there's elevation. There's strategic OB. There's landing zones. There's, and the best part about this course to me is when Dave designed it, he designed it with spectators in mind
Mm.
for a big event.
Mhm.
So there's room out there to have a couple thousand people come through
That's
and
cool.
and be able to watch golf from multiple holes. It's fantastic.
Is that something as a course designer, have you thought about that before? Because I think this was where they filmed that skins match
It is.
that came out, and there was one hole I remember where they talked about it or they showed it or something, and there's kind of like an elevated walkway next to the fairway.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was put there or if it was just a coincidence and they kind of made it into a path or whatever. Is that something that you've thought about when designing, if somebody wants a championship level course, of how do I get the course to be top
Absolutely.
level and also, I don't know, 2,000 people in here?
Absolutely. A lot more now than say 2-3 years ago. Because 2 or 3 years ago, if you're designing a championship level course for tournaments, then you didn't have to concern
Right.
yourself with spectators.
That's
Now
true.
you absolutely have to figure that out, and not just that, but you got to figure out parking.
Right.
Parking is one of the biggest issues with some courses today. Not
Mhm.
having a place to park. So,
Yeah.
and the hole that you're referring to, where the ledge is on top, it's an old railroad used to go through there. They call it the
That's right.
train wreck hole.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a hill
Oh,
on
yeah.
each side, and there's spectating on both sides. And you're, what would you say, AJ, 25 feet above the bottom?
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the way
Pretty
down,
cool
looking
view.
down, it'd be a sick view of getting
would
some
be
camera angles and all that. People throwing down the tunnel. So
That would be so cool as the player, because that's as close to like that kind of stadium atmosphere
Yeah.
that we're going to have of like, I mean, you're wearing a Chiefs shirt. Obviously, it's NFL playoff time where like you just have these tens of thousands of people are just on top of
Yeah.
the field. That's kind of the closest, at least as far as I'm aware,
Yeah.
is the only one that's like specifically designed for that.
amazing.
That
It's
would be cool.
beautiful. He has a pro shop on site. I mean, with anything and everything inside this pro shop,
Yeah.
from discs to fishing lures to machetes to
Flashlights.
$700 flashlights. I mean, it's insane. It's like
4-day
survival in there.
kits.
It's pretty cool.
Is the machete so that you buy the machete, AJ buys the $700 flashlight,
Correct.
you now have a $700 flashlight.
Exactly.
And
right.
a machete.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
It's a much cheaper alternative.
It is. It is.
Yeah, so that was a cool experience.
Yeah,
Man, I had a great time hanging out with you and Doug. We went to Waffle House
we did.
for
Nice.
lunch afterwards. Thanks for that. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fun time.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I mean, let's keep backtracking in terms of emotions. I mean,
I got one more emotion that happened after all that, but
okay.
go on.
Oh, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
This is like a Christopher
still going
Nolan film.
backwards.
Yeah, we're still going backwards. Can I go
Um,
back in time?
The night before, freaking like the night before, Bills and Chiefs.
Oh my God.
Holy moly,
Yeah.
dude!
Unbelievable.
Insane.
What was that like? How many points? 69 points. Nice. 42-37, wasn't it? Overtime.
Yeah,
42-36.
and not just that game, but every game this
Every
weekend.
game this
Yeah.
weekend was insane.
It was just Obviously, I thought we had won and lost a game 2 or 3 times in the last 2
in the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, it was insane. What a game to have gone to as well. And keep in mind, I'm sitting here watching this game knowing that I have to be up out of the house by 4:15 in the morning too. So
okay, but worth it.
A lot of adrenaline.
You would have felt like such an idiot if you went to bed and then woke up and saw what happened and you just
I wouldn't have been able to sleep.
All of it.
There's no way I would have been able to sleep. Like I'd have been like checking my phone and then we're good here. No.
You'd have Denise right next to you like,
oh my. She watched the entire game too and was like, she's not a football fan, but she had a fantastic time watching it. So that was cool.
It would be hard not to enjoy that game unless you just despise sports or whatever.
But even then, I feel like you get something out of that. Like,
right. It just,
crazy.
The whole weekend, like you said, I think all 3 of the first games came down to a kick.
Came down to a field
at the very end.
Yeah.
And the away team won. And then the 4th game, the only one that had to break the streak, goes into overtime after like back and forth with 2 minutes left, 1 minute and 40 seconds left, 13 seconds left, overtime. Like just, insane.
And how about Tom Brady's comeback too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That was.
And then now the question of will Tom Brady come back?
Oh.
Or is he retired? Sean Payton just retired?
I listened to a podcast that he was on this last weekend and his answers were just fantastic about answering that question.
Okay.
Wanting to live in the moment now, wanting to, they asked him about, do you want to come back and do like a farewell season, farewell year? And he's like, I think that would just add more pressure to myself and my mind would be on that, not on playing football. And he thrives better in that moment than he does in the moment of thinking about, oh, this is my last year. This is my last opportunity. So I don't know. Then he mentioned something about his kids and I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. I am because he's he is the GOAT. Let's be honest.
Right.
I mean, he is. And he's beat up on my team for many, many years. So
yeah, same.
But I have a lot of respect for that man.
That's something that every NFL franchise can say.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's beat us for
He's
years.
beat every single team.
Yes.
Like all of them.
I think
in the playoffs.
Every team.
Except the Lions. Burn. Sorry. Okay, but how about Stafford?
Stafford.
Though? I saw this video, I think Instagram or reel or something that
the
said
Lions fan?
Well, yes, I did see that one. This guy was like, diehard Stafford
screaming.
Fan. Yeah. And I saw this video that said the play on Sunday Saturday before the game-winning field goal reminded them a lot of this other play. And I think it was from this game where he like dislocated his shoulder and still went out there and played and still threw. And it was like at the end of the game. And in both instances, huge pass, offense runs down. He's got to clock it. And it looked like the exact same thing, except in the one when he was with the Lions, they clocked it right.
It was
at
to
the
get
goal
win
line.
number 1 on the season.
Could have been. Who knows?
Oh man.
But yeah, that was
congratulations. You guys still
that
lost.
was just cool.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that was actually the Cowboys 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Yeah. Oh man.
Dak.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, football's crazy. It's really exciting.
It was a great weekend for football.
Yeah. Also on keep backtracking. Before that on Sunday, thanks again, Eric, for helping me move some. Gather some new furniture.
Was it Saturday?
That was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday.
It was Sunday.
Right. Yeah, we had a great day on Sunday. It was we gathered some furniture that I found on Facebook Marketplace. A couple couches. We did some heavy lifting of a sleeper sofa, a hideaway bed sofa up out of a basement, and then up into the second floor of the apartment building.
Got there.
Ill advised. Like,
hide a bed.
Don't do that.
Hide a bed too.
And
heavy.
So that felt really good for me. I'm getting settled into my new place here in town. That felt great. Before that,
my arms are still very sore, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, like right.
Didn't feel as good for me.
Right about here.
Right. Yeah, it felt great for AJ because he was like, "You guys, I thank you. You guys are doing a great job at just standing at the bottom of the stairs." Yeah, keep going. Couple more.
Go.
Yeah.
2 more.
Almost there, Eric.
Pivot.
before that, I was in my apartment building the bed frame, and then I went around, and then I came here to pick up a camera equipment for Monday, and then I called you and said like, hey, it's really nice out. Let's go play some golf before we go pick up this furniture. And so we played Hammond Park, 18 holes at Hammond with a D nice. And I threw like righty
and Ren and Maverick.
Yeah, Ren and Rick. And I was playing right-handed for most of it, and that felt really good, like physically and spiritually. That was a really nice awesome. Round at Hammond. So,
and then we can go even further back.
Oh,
yeah.
The day before, Eric and I both played disc golf right-handed.
Yep.
We played Hobsonheisers on Saturday morning.
That's right.
Now, Eric.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
What did you shoot at Hobsonheisers? We played Jones East, long to long.
Okay, you keep saying we.
There was...
Yeah, there was doubles.
20. Yeah, it's a local doubles. We did not get partnered up together.
No, we didn't partner up.
Oh,
we were both there and both played.
Oh.
With the handicap system,
right?
We shot a 46.
And so with the same handicap system, myself and my partner shot a 47.
Pretty solid.
Pretty sweet. This past weekend, we had 2 team members in town. Zach Melton was here.
That's right.
Macy Villadiaz and her husband Jamie were here.
Yep.
They also played. You said you shot a 46?
46.
I shot a 47.
What did Zach shoot?
Did Zach shoot 48?
Oh, I think so.
Oh,
that's more than 46 and
that's
47.
Right. So that's worse.
So close.
That's worse. Yeah.
Dang.
That's worse. It's not good.
Bummer to be Zach, dude.
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. He had the best partner, too. He had Keith.
Right. Keith's
man.
good. Keith probably carried him, honestly.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah, he was playing behind us, and I yelled at him a few times.
Right. Keith probably shot a 48. Zach probably shot like a 53.
Right. Well over par.
If I had to
Keith,
guess.
stop carrying.
Right. I think Keith has a cart, so he probably just sat on that thing and just
for
pulled him along. We did.
Great weekend.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, now let's go back to.
Well, we can keep going back while Zach and Macy were here.
Yeah.
We recorded episodes with them. Those will be out later this week, potentially earlier next week, depending on how things shake out. We've got a couple other pieces of content set to come out, so scheduling that all out.
Yeah, that's right. Friday morning, we recorded a fun scripted scene.
Right. Directed and produced by AJ Risley.
Yeah.
Sick.
This will be the first one since you joined the media team.
Oh,
sick.
Dang, dude.
That's so sick.
Oh, media team. So sick. Robert's in the chat. Yeah, that was a fun time too. Gabe Diaz Serrano and Zach Melton were the stars. Eric was one of the 8 extras, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Great cooperation, and it just felt great to
that was fun for sure.
To be the director and execute that. Everybody, so
yeah, I think it's going to be good. I don't know when people are first going to see it, but sometime this year, coming soon. See. Written, directed, and produced by AJ Risley, mostly filmed by AJ Risley.
Oh. I mean, I set up the like tripod locations, but then I handed it over to you to take care of
push the big red button.
Rest.
Yeah.
So
I will take credit for some of the red button pushing, and that's it. Everything else,
executive.
I helped with some lighting as well.
Oh yeah.
Should we get moving forward?
I think so.
Please.
We've gone back.
Is it time? Okay. So before we move all the way forward, I wanted to give a special shout out to Team DD John Nicholson. He won the Louisville Winter Warm Up this past weekend.
Nice.
It was down in Texas.
Didn't I see Holland won FPO?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
2 DD players won.
I was excited because it showed John was 2 off the lead after round 1. There's a guy in first, guy in second, 3 people tied for third. So I was like, looking at PDGA numbers, this is going to be sick. John came and won it off chase cards. That'd be so cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Texted him, 5-man cards.
Oh.
Dang it.
Not as cool. I take back my congratulations.
That is almost exactly what I told him. I said, would have been cooler if you did. Still very cool. So congratulations to John. Congratulations.
It's probably harder to win on the lead card than it is from the chase card.
You think so?
I do. Because on the chase card, you're just playing.
Topic.
I mean, unless you're checking scores, you don't really know. As where if you're playing from behind on the lead card, you're watching the guy play and know exactly what needs done. As where on the chase card, you're just playing your own game, which you can argue and say you can play your own game on the lead card, but it's impossible to not know what everybody on the card is doing.
Yeah. I feel like there's you have more potential to like gain momentum on the chase card. Like there's more of you have more of like a dominating feel and mindset when you're on the chase card and you know that you're in contention to win. You're playing much better than the rest of your card mates.
Yes.
That you're directly comparing yourself to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe there's some of that. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot more pressure on the lead card.
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, yeah. Congrats to Jonathan and Holland.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's interesting. I would feel like if you were, I don't know, if it were me, I feel like I would rather know, like, this is what I need to do. If I'm playing and Eric and I are much more comparable in skill level and he's 2 strokes ahead of me and I see that he throws, I don't know, he birdies hole 1. Now I know, like, if you thinking of Old Man down there where they played round 2, hole 1 is a pretty gotta get birdie. It's kind of, what'd you say, 250, 280 straight downhill. Yeah. And if I see Eric and he's 45 long, now I know, okay, I can, we can play. We're basically playing round 2 now with him 1 stroke ahead of me, where if I'm on chase card or something.
See, I think that's what I like about chase card is you don't have to worry about, I mean, you shouldn't have to worry about what anybody else is doing when you're playing anyway on whatever card you're on. Right. But when you're on the chase card and you're in a groove and just playing, you're focusing in on your play. You're not focusing in on worrying about you not executing a shot. Like the first person, whoever's in first place.
I'll chime in just to say, like, the only counterpoint that I think would be or the main counterpoint that I think of is, like, if there's a hole where you usually lay up and you have to get it to be able to take the win, or a situation like that, I can see that being a big a big difference. Because, like, if you just play it like you normally do and then you lose because of it, that's like
Yeah. Well, there's also the thought of stick to your game plan, and you should already have a game plan going into that hole.
Yeah.
So you should stick to your game plan regardless, you know?
If you were, say it was 4-man cards, you're John, and you do get bumped to chase card, you know you're playing well in round 2, probably have a shot at it. When do you start checking scores of, like, okay, now, so if, say the round was at Peter Pan and hole 12, the peninsula hole, if you knew, okay, I've got a 2-stroke lead, you're laying that up 100 times out of 100. If you're 2 strokes down, you're probably running that.
That's a tough one. That's a great.
It's kind of, it goes with Danny's point of, like, yeah, you know, you're going to have to adjust at a certain point.
I don't think I would. I think if I'm playing a tournament at Peter Pan on that hole, I would lay up that hole and give myself a 30-foot look. Is what I would try to do every single time I play that hole. Yeah, every time. I never go for that green because the odds are just so slim.
Right.
And if I'm down 2 on hole 13, I've still got so many more holes that I can get aggressive on and make that stroke
right.
up.
Your chances being down 2 on hole 14 are better than if you're down
17.
3.
Like if it's on 17 and I'm down by 1, or maybe run for the green.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like country club coming down the stretch.
Yep.
You know, those last 3 holes, you can be 3 down. You could be 3 up.
Well, in that scenario too, though, is going into that, if you're down by 1, then, I mean, wouldn't you just lay up anyway? Because if the lead card is checking scores, they're going to know what they need to do ahead of time too. So I don't know. For me, I think it's all about having a game plan and knowing what you want to do on every single hole and how to execute, and just stick to that and let the cards fly where they fly, or land where they fly. How does that saying go?
Fall where they may.
Sure. That one.
I like land where they fly.
I like that.
Let
too.
the cards land where they
Just
fly.
let them land where I throw them.
Landed, but that's kind of summarizes my disc golf game.
52
honestly,
card pickup.
just I'm gonna grab this disc and chuck it, and wherever it lands, it flies.
Yeah.
But you could say, I mean, I think we could all agree that sticking to the game plan, like, well, if you are in John's position or that tied for third spot,
Mm-hmm.
but chase card rather than lead card, it's going to be, you're going to be in this different mindset. Whereas instead of being fourth in a 4-person field, you're first in a 4-person field if you're on that chase card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
a little bit less. Yeah. It's just, I just feel like, it's
A little less
again,
pressure.
yeah, again, easier to stick to that game plan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're right.
Before we get too far away from
It's
it,
true.
you're correct. Holland did win the FPO division, and ironically enough, she had a 2-stroke deficit after hole 1 and ended up winning the event by 1 stroke, exactly the same as John.
Nice.
Wow.
She's on
Interesting.
tour this year, and I'm stoked to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna just kill it. I think.
She's
I think
good.
she's gonna. Yeah. I'm very excited to watch Holland play.
She is very good. Quickly, I want to ask you guys a question from the squad. This one comes to us from Q. Everybody out there, if you're not a part of the squad, you can sign up at squad.dynamicdiscs.com, get a bunch of cool stuff, complete a couple of challenges, a couple of Instagram posts, reviews, things like that. Possibly get your question featured on the show, get some free discs, anything like that.
Yep.
This one comes to us from Q. Q says, the orbit discs look fantastic. Which molds would you each like to see done in orbit? So I guess the 4 of us just will do one disc just for the sake of time. But what one disc would you like to see in orbit plastic? Can they do orbit lucid?
They haven't tried it yet, but they think that they can potentially.
Okay, so for right now, we'll just
but
say
for now, let's just
fusion,
Fusion
orbit,
only.
like the felons were, like I think they were like tournament orbit swords in the West Side box.
They were.
So
I think everything has been either gold, fusion,
okay,
or tournament. What you got?
I think of, an Orbit Maverick I would enjoy.
I'd buy
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are ready to hear me say that 3 more times, because I'm gonna say that 3 more times.
I'd buy that. I'd buy that.
are.
It's another sting.
It's
I'd
tough
buy
because I
that.
know what's coming down the pipeline, and I'm excited for a couple
Okay,
of
well,
them. But
you can say something that's coming, just don't tell us if it's coming or not, because
perfect.
you probably can't say that yet.
No, I can't.
Let me guess. EMAC Truth.
I mean, obviously
I
that's
was
the
gonna say
obvious
you meant
answer,
Judge.
but I'm gonna say Evader, I think is what I'm gonna say instead of
Ooh.
just to throw a curveball at your face
Yeah.
hole. I think the Evader
Usually
is
pitchers get thrown out for that stuff, Eric.
Oh, Jake C in the chat says Orbit Evader as well.
Orbit Evader. I mean,
Right to the face hole.
we really haven't done fusion evaders, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it, I
Lucid,
don't
and I think there's been some hybrid ones out there, but nothing really
Yeah.
that I can off the top of my head. I think that disc, especially if they come out like the Ricky Felons did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those discs! I swear that is the best Felon I've ever thrown.
Really?
Yeah, it's 100% in my bag, and maybe it's because it's not quite as overstable as the X series ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I can actually throw it like a Felon is supposed to fly, and it's just perfect. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. They are so throwable.
Mm-hmm.
It is the way that I feel about them. They're definitely overstable, definitely a wind fighter, sidearm disc, all that stuff. But like you said, the Lucid X Felons are like, I always say they're mad at the ground and they're just trying to like hit it as hard as possible. Where these ones, you can throw it and it can work for you. Do you have your disc picked out that you'd like to see in orbit plastic, Danny?
Wait, but
Okay, hold on.
Never mind.
if there was an Orbit Evader,
I'd buy that.
Seems.
okay.
I think I want to see Orbit Justice because it's a disc everybody can use. It's not one you're like gonna lose, and I think having a pretty disc that's not like gonna get beat in or something like that
Mm.
would be really cool.
I'd buy that. Would you buy that, AJ?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
it's
I'd buy that.
Fusion Justices aren't exactly like common either.
True.
Do those exist, period? Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
There was
The GBO ones.
Yeah, and they had them you could get Dimaxes on them.
Yep.
Or the canvas where it has
Blank
like the bottom
canvas.
stamp and
Yeah.
the blank at the top is blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine. I'm gonna go Orbit Raider.
Yeah.
I think that'd be sick.
That would be great. I'd buy that.
I'd buy that too.
All right. Prove it.
Buy it.
Prove it.
Okay, give me hand one over, please.
Honorable mention to the Orbit Warden.
Yeah,
I'd buy that.
I'd buy that.
I will say that there are some Kona escapes coming.
Ooh,
Yeah, those are gonna be
I'd buy
sweet.
that.
Yeah.
Orbital?
You will buy that.
I will buy that.
You've already bought that.
Whoa! You said Warden. I was gonna say an Orbit Maiden, just to get like a tournament plastic Maiden. I think that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But like, I'd be real hyped about an Orbit Raider.
It'd be interesting to see how that would come out in a putter, because it's a bigger rim,
Mm-hmm.
different style. So it'd be very interesting to see.
I wonder if the orbit
Yeah.
effect would be like,
Bigger or smaller because
Right.
the rim wraps around more.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the process, so I guess we'll just have to make some and find out.
Okay.
You heard it here first, folks. They're gonna do it for us. Let us know in the chat.
Cheers from Germany.
Hey, Germany. Let us know what you guys would like to see in the Orbit plastic.
Cheers.
And while you're doing that, Danny, do you want to run the people through our Facebook question this week?
Yeah, I could do that. So the Facebook question this week is one that you could have either taken like actually seriously or like whatever's going to give you the biggest advantage. So the question was, if you could make one throwing style illegal in tournament play, what would it be? And so it could be just a goofy tournament, like if you want to say like no backhands, and everyone has to throw forehands or overhands
I
or
would
whatever.
not play that tournament.
Same. But then like
And not because I'm
people,
scared, because I don't want to hurt myself.
That's
Right.
true.
It's a lot of forehands.
A lot of people, like a surprising amount of people, said jump putts or step putts,
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
and like they're like
Interesting.
suggesting moving the putt circle to like 20 meters rather than 10.
I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah,
I don't think that would affect my game whatsoever.
I think I've seen you throw like the amount of times I've seen you throw a jump or step putt, I could count on one hand.
Mm-hmm. And it's usually from about 80 feet.
Right. I was gonna say like 80 to 100.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah.
Brad said a scuba. What do you think a scuba is when you hear that? Because I don't know. Is it like, it seems like almost like a pancake shot, right?
It's well, hey, we got some discs.
It's like a
Okay,
So
I think
like a
that's what it is,
tomahawk
right?
over your head.
it's forehand grip, but upside down.
Right.
And like anything
Trying to slide it on the flight plate. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you would see like particularly often.
No, unless you're trying to get over a bush.
I bet you Brad like
something.
lost to somebody who threw a scuba and he didn't know that was a shot,
Yeah.
and he's just salty now.
Well, and then what was it last year or maybe the year before with Brody Smith and his scuba?
Oh
putts?
I think
yeah,
that was
Waco.
it was at
Yeah.
Waco.
Oh,
That
Vegas,
doesn't
too.
like scuba to me is more up here,
hmm
and Brody's is like almost like here, a putt. I felt like,
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
pretty tall.
yeah, that's true.
Someone suggested
It's the ultimate term.
throwing tantrums illegal.
That's a good one.
That's a real good one.
That's hilarious.
I think strictly tantrums.
that.
should
I
like just
love that.
What do
just
you
people
think?
strictly getting super mad and yelling and screaming, turning around.
Only that.
What about upside down shots, like tomahawks or thumbers, or like would that really change that much?
Probably not.
I don't
But-
think
Depends
so.
on the course,
Yeah.
but
And the skill level, like maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like if I had to answer the question, I would say no grenades. Like when I see some of the top players throw grenade shots on coverage and whatnot, it just seems a little, I don't know, it doesn't seem to fit the purpose of the hole in the game. You know, it's like they're breaking the hole
Okay.
or something like that. Like a few examples would be Kevin Jones, like at Maple Hill hole 11. I think last year, or the year before, I don't know when, but he He throws a grenade from the open field up and over the trees
on
when
his approach.
when it's like, obviously it was intended to have you throw into the mouth of the gap in the woods.
Mhm.
And then similarly, sorry, KJ. Sorry. It's just my
He's
opinion.
mad at you
but-
Sure,
right now. Like
sure.
he's watching and he's just white knuckled, just heated. That's the kind of person that he is. Definitely not a chill guy who doesn't really care.
Yeah, he is definitely
Idlewild
not watching either.
hole 10, like a little putter shot through the woods and grenade up and over. It just doesn't see it. I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
but it seems like more of like an expression or exertion of physical ability and strength rather than like the mental
Mhm.
strength
Yeah.
and creativity. That's a really big part of our game.
I agree. There was a point in my like local disc golf scene where like I got good enough to be able to beat the guy who just threw tomahawks and thumbers for everything.
Yeah.
And
That's
that
like a
was
rite of
satisfying
passage.
because it
Yeah.
felt like I did it the right way, and he was kind of cheesing the system. But the counterpoint to that is disc golf is all about creativity,
There you go.
and so if you want to be creative and throw different kinds of shots, go for it. That's kind of the part of the beauty of disc golf.
I would almost think
Yeah.
take the exact same logic that AJ just used and ban rollers, because
Yeah.
you're not throwing the disc, you're rolling it. The disc was meant to fly in the air, and you're not throwing it in the air.
Fair. Yeah.
I mean,
like,
sky
it's-
rollers are a little different though, right?
I think if you're
I
throwing,
think a sky roller
if
would
you're
be
throwing it with the intent for the disc to roll,
Yeah.
so then you wouldn't have tomahawks and thumbers either, because
They-
that's not how
They're
the disc
rotating
flies.
the other direction when it hits the ground.
but that disc
Also,
is flying.
Well, so is it if I'm throwing it on a sky roller and the disc is flying 280 feet in the air before it hits.
Right, but you're doing that with the intention of it hitting the ground and rolling. Where if you
Sure.
throw a thumber, you're trying to throw it
You're
in
trying
the
to
air
throw
and
the disc, but not
corkscrew
to
and
get it
come
to
straight
fly
down.
like it's supposed to fly. Like how a disc is made to
Interesting,
fly, like
yeah.
you said.
That is true.
Let's just ban throwing the disc. How about
Yeah.
that?
Maybe
Only
Just
kid
ban
from
disc
here.
golf.
Ban the
maybe
sport.
they're meant to roll.
Brand had a funny one. He said ban layups, go big or go home.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
nice. That's great.
Yeah.
I would
I'll-
have.
I
Good.
love rollers though.
I like watching rollers.
Yeah.
I can't throw them to save my life, but I love watching like hole 14 at the country club where Simon threw that roller that
Mhm.
went OB
Yeah.
long on like a
Yeah.
900-foot hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I could throw 3 rollers and not be that far.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is to throw forehand rollers,
Mhm.
like two
Yeah, it's
finger
like trick
rollers
shots.
like that. Trick shots, or also like more like utility shots, kind of like scramble shots in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's creativity there too. So I guess I see the open-mindedness and creativity behind grenades as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think
What about the Matt Bell putter?
Oh, with the
Yeah.
gun putt.
that's,
that
just
he
wad it up
used to
and-
wad it up and throw.
I mean, that's much easier than spinning a disc and throwing it. So
It's not as consistent though. And I think the
right.
trade-off is like, I don't think upside down shots are ever going to be as consistent as a normal shot.
So
Just 'cause
what
the
I
disc
do
changes
like
angles so
about
much.
an upside down shot though is if you are underneath a cedar tree and you're just trying to throw it
Totally.
upside down and skip it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've done that
That's
before.
100% useful shot.
Hole 2 at Jones West. I've
Yep.
done it many times
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
That's pretty much all the responses that I got for the Facebook and Discord question this week.
Yeah, best answer, no layups.
Oh,
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh yeah.
I think that might be a video we do out at Hammond where it's like we start with maybe like 6 or 8 people,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as someone's drive finishes short of the basket, they're eliminated.
That's what we do. All right.
That'd be fun.
I say we, like this is a thing that everyone does. Anytime I've played in one of the stadium experiences, that's been a rule.
Mhm.
If you're OB of the
Short
basket,
is
you're
OB.
short. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you throw it and you're short, but it's parked, cool. You get a 3.
Yep.
So far, I've been OB many times.
Every time.
Yes, but very much fun and definitely a way to play.
I still like the idea of going and playing if you're inside the circle, you have to pull it back out to outside the circle. to the circle's edge.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's a fun one.
That'd be a fun video.
That would be difficult.
Yes, it would be very difficult.
We're doing it.
That would be fun. I feel like I
I'm
would
gonna write it
play
down
my
right now.
best tournament ever if just putts were banned. It was like, oh,
Putts
you're
are banned.
inside circle 2. Okay,
All you got to do is hit metal.
on to the next hole. No, just
Tone pole.
the basket is now 66 feet wide.
Oh,
We could
wow.
do a real life version of Birdie, the disc golf game that utilizes a 20-sided die. So we could like,
Wait, what?
have you ever played the game by
Birdie?
Birdie
I'm familiar with it, but I've never played it. I
from
know what
Boda
it is.
Brothers games?
Mm-mm.
Steve Dodge and Todd Dodge.
I know what you're talking about. I haven't.
You haven't played it yet though?
No.
Yeah, it's a lot
Is
of
it
fun.
on the market or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure you can. I think maybe bodabrothers.com. I'll search it real quick. But yeah, that game utilizes 20-sided die and 6-sided die. And basically, yeah, you can say, okay, I'm going to go with the aggressive drive, and you roll the die, and depending on what you land on, so like 1 through 5, you'll end up off the fairway. And then from off the fairway, you can only get to like circle 3. You can't even if you roll a 20, you can only get to circle 3, something like that. Or if you go aggressive drive and you roll like a 15 or higher, okay, cool. Now you're in circle 1. And then when you're in circle 1, based on your specific player card,
Mhm.
you roll the 20-sided die. And obviously if you get like, again, 15 or higher, you made the putt. Or if you're somewhere in the middle, it's like, no, you missed it. And then if you roll like a 1 or a 2, it's like, no, you missed it, but then you rolled to circle 2. All these kind of things, but
Okay.
utilizing the 20-sided die. And so I think that would be kind of another fun video idea to throw drives and then roll the die. And then
Have to
that's,
base your game off of that, basically.
yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Could be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. It's time. Last week, Danny started the player of the week trend. AJ's looking up the birdie game.
Sweet.
It looks like it is available on their website if anyone is interested in picking it up. But we're going to move on to the player of the week. Danny had it last week. This week, it was my turn. My player of the week has nothing to do with disc golf.
No.
Probably never played disc golf before in their life. Probably
Patrick Mahomes.
close.
Oh.
This is a different football player
Oh.
that won a football game this past weekend.
Okay.
My player of the week this week is going to be San Francisco 49ers
Oh.
place kicker Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould is
Good
a
as gold.
former Chicago Bear. In the playoffs, he has missed 0 kicks, extra points, field goal attempts. He's missed 0 lifetime. And this past week, he had the best kick of his career, knocking the Green Bay Packers out of the playoffs. Thank you very much, Robbie Gould. You are the Understable Minds player of the week this week. Next week,
And 0 degrees too.
It really is the off season because it
Freezing
took
cold.
2 episodes for our official Understable Minds player of the week to not even be a disc golf player.
okay, we don't know that for certain. I've never seen Robbie Gould post anything explicitly saying, what is disc golf?
Yeah. He may know.
So
He may play.
it's up in the air.
It just really speaks to the amount of content that we have to talk about in the off season. That's all.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Danny?
Or lack thereof.
The Packers getting knocked out of the playoffs
Yes.
should be content on every show that has anything to do with anything this week. It's like a national holiday.
Gosh.
Got to find
Okay,
positives as a Bears fan.
where do you think Rodgers is going though?
Denver.
He's in like a similar situation as Brady of like, is he going to go somewhere?
Either Denver or he's staying in Green Bay.
Really?
Those are the 2 I think.
I think it's Green Bay or Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah, I could see him going to Pittsburgh.
Could you imagine?
Whoa.
Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
If he and Devontae Adams go to Pittsburgh,
Well, and then I heard
I'm moving to Pittsburgh. Season tickets.
people were
50
saying
yard line.
people were saying he could go to the Colts
Yeah.
because apparently they have room in their salary cap where they could sign both of them. They could sign Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Send Wentz to Green Bay.
The local Target, who cares?
Ouch.
Ouch, bro.
Yeah. So, Robbie Gould, you're our player of the week
That's
this
pretty
week.
solid.
AJ, I'm going to give you the responsibility
Okay.
to come up with a player of the week for episode 14 next week.
You can do better than Anthony because he didn't even pick a disc golfer. Like, the bar is on the floor, man.
Okay, Danny.
Wait, what is this? What is it called?
Hold on.
It's the official Understable Minds player of the week.
Okay,
Danny,
then that is settled. It doesn't
can-
have to be a disc golfer.
You can do
Right?
better.
You can pick whatever you want. I'm just saying the bar is low.
Right.
I don't even remember who you picked last week, Danny.
It was Matty O.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Okay.
Well, sorry.
Come
but
on.
We sent him a plaque and everything.
I'll remember
Like,
yours.
Thank you.
No,
We did not.
Thank you.
no, we just sent him plaque.
But like,
didn't send
He
him
has to
a
go to the
plaque.
dentist
Yeah.
now.
but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
Gosh.
You whoever you think this week.
Yeah.
I'm picking
Don't-
Tim
Don't let
Meadows
the man
from-
behind the curtain.
Don't let him get in your head,
Yeah.
AJ.
Whoever you want.
You got
It's
it yet?
really hard to be
Okay.
to pick a disc
All right,
golfer when
fine.
there's the season hasn't started, right?
And
I mean,
also, no disc golfer has knocked the Packers out of the playoffs yet. So
If it were
well,
me right
to be
now,
fair,
I would-
Aaron Rodgers does play disc golf.
yeah.
partially
So-
responsible for knocking the Packers out of the playoffs is Aaron Rodgers. I guess he would shoulder some of that blame.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a fair point. As we move towards the end of the show, let's wrap up with a few more of our squad questions. We do have, it looks like 5 of them left, so we can get through these here pretty quick, but there are some good ones. Zachary says, how do you deal with the frustration of missing a shot you have made 1,000 times? So in my head, I think of like missing a putt inside the circle, or if you walk up to a hole that you birdie more often than you don't. Now it's a tournament and you yank your drive and get up and down for your par. How do you deal with that frustration?
Try not to let it frustrate you. I think is the first. I mean, you can't control it at that point when it's over.
Right. So let's say you do that. You're frustrated already.
Mm-hmm.
How do you say hole 2 at Jones East, relatively routine birdie? You par it.
Triple
as-
bogey it.
Yeah, sure. As you're walking up the hill to hole 3's tee pad, how do you deal with that mentally?
I would probably give myself till I got to the tee pad to be frustrated with it, and then just forget about it, and then move on to the next shot.
Yeah.
I think is it's okay to be frustrated about things that aren't going your way if you're not playing well. It's 100% okay to be mad or to have those thoughts, but just when those thoughts linger and stick with you,
Right.
that's when they become issues. So if you can get past it, get mad, do whatever you got to do. Obviously you don't want to blow up on things, but whatever you can do to get through that and move on to the next shot. Because if you're still frustrated when you step onto that next tee, pretty good chance that you're not going to throw a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have a trick on what I do. I just try to have a short memory and move on to the next shot.
What do you do, AJ?
Can you loop back and repeat the question?
Yeah. So they said, how do you deal with the frustration of missing a shot you have made 1,000 times?
Well, I think I remind myself that I've made the shot 1,000 times.
Mhm.
And yeah, I know it kind of sounds like, well, that's what leads to the frustration. Sure.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, I have a pretty good quote that I wrote down from, I think it's this, either this book called Letting Go or The Art of Happiness. I think it was from The Art of Happiness. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But it's basically saying that, like, if you have a lack of confidence in something, that means that that means that you have confidence in that certain field. So that kind of describes my answer, is that even if I mess up that shot that I know I can get, I know I can accomplish 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, okay, here we go. In order for you to have a lack of confidence in something, it implies that you have a kind of belief that you can do it, that generally speaking, it is within your scope. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is messing up that one shot out of 1,000 is not the penultimate
Right.
shot and result.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you have that context and that awareness of time. And so it's, that's what I do is I use that, and I use that positive memory bank to cope with that frustration or that failure in that one moment.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's obviously going to be relative to the specific situation, how frustrating or how frustrated one will become. But I think given that it's something that you've done 1,000 times, then you can shrug it off easier and say like, okay, well, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I remember missing a 10-foot putt, in a tournament a few years ago, and then losing that, and then finishing in second place in that tournament by one stroke. And so at the time I missed the putt, and I think I was a bit more shocked than frustrated.
Sure.
But it just like rolled right off me, that 10-foot miss and the carelessness. That was more frustrating than mis-executing or not executing. Right. It was the carelessness that, and I think that's kind of the hidden part of this question. But then really I just kind of realized like, okay, well, I get to keep throwing and I get to keep playing. And so I will have another chance to make this right. I mean, you can look at anything in life, even if it's something that you've never done. You get to this certain point where you recognize it's like, okay, even if it is something that I've done 1,000 times or just twice before in my life, there's going to be a point where I can, right before making a really pivotal decision, where I can say to myself, act as if you've done this twice and you know what the wrong decision is. So,
yeah,
just don't think too much, just execute.
Yep. Yeah. I like, I think it's Tim in the chat said, this perfectly summarizes mine. They said, my game is more like I made that shot I missed 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking about the fact that you missed it the one time, think about the fact that you've made it 1,000 times.
Totally.
And that will, bring that confidence back on the next hole. And
on the next hole. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a glass half empty, half full kind of thing as well.
Yep.
Which I think would be a pretty good discussion for us to have at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what you said is like, just execute without, and I would finish the sentence by saying, just execute without a fear of failure.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't bring failure into it.
Right.
And if you do, accept it.
Sure. Or don't accept it.
You have
and
to
get super mad.
Only throw tantrums.
That's right.
All right.
Tantrum Tuesdays.
Mike has a question for us. Mike says, if you could only taste one color for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Taste one color?
I mean, I guess it would be orange because I know what oranges taste like. But that's a trick question, isn't it? Isn't there something like I don't know. Yeah, never mind.
Mine's red. If I could only taste one color, it'd be red.
If you could only taste a color.
Oh yeah. Red.
Does that sound weird to you? Tasting a color?
It's red. My initial thought was going to be green. I was thinking kind of like that evader
like
green.
Green apple?
But it's red. My answer is red. If I can only taste one color for the rest of my life, it's red.
Yeah, I'm going with blue here. Easy choice.
Yeah. That doesn't
Blueberries,
surprise me.
delicious.
Okay. Oh, okay.
See, I'm thinking red because I like spicy food.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like my food to be hot. I don't like cold food. I like hot food. So
I'm basing my opinion almost entirely on Gatorade because I don't know the flavors of those. I just know the colors.
Same.
Yeah, there's
fruit punch is red.
Yeah.
If I drink enough of it, I might turn red.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That just it got me right there. Tasting a color.
If you could only taste one color for the rest of your life, what would it be? You're going with orange?
Well, not now. No, I don't know.
Jackson says
my brain's
gold.
broken.
Interesting.
I'm colorblind.
Everything tastes gray.
Yeah. Everything tastes great.
Yeah. AJ's just eating chicken for the rest of his life. Just bland, unseasoned, probably boiled chicken. Just suck all the flavor
High
right out.
protein? I don't know. That was a
All right.
tricky question there.
Thank you, Mike. I enjoyed that. Nick wants to know, what is the best place to vacation that has great disc golf courses in the area?
Olathe.
It's really not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Kansas
Milo's
City has some
right down
great
the-
disc golf courses.
That's a joke for the people that are here watching live before the show started. If you don't get it, I'm sorry. We're not going to explain it. You just have to be here on Tuesday afternoons, youtube.com/dynamic discs. You guys have traveled much more often for the specific purpose of disc golf. So good vacation spot that also has good disc golf courses, or would you guys vacation in a disc golf spot?
Oh.
The best place to vacation. So it sounds like they're wanting to vacation and also play disc golf. So best vacation spot that has good disc golf courses in the area.
That's tough.
I mean, I would really go with Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
I would really pick that because they have the downtown Portland is really cool. Lots of culture, lots of like local flavor. I mean, it's the Rose City. It's also, I think, the city of bridges. So there's just a lot going on.
Jeff Bridges?
No.
Oh.
They've got like a bunch of different it's Portland.
Gotcha.
There's a river. And there's a bunch of bridges
ports, man.
that go over the
Portland, Maine?
The Northeast would be good. That's what I was thinking too, is like
New
where's
England.
GMC?
Yeah.
What's
Vermont?
that? Yeah. There's got to be some like beautiful
Yeah, Vermont would be a good one.
cottage getaway,
Assuming this is summertime, I guess.
Sure. Or like fall. I bet it's gorgeous up there in the fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I would stick with Portland though. I like the downtown scene. There's a lot of great food. Beautiful forests and mountains nearby, and then plenty of great disc golf. With like close to the city is Pier Park. Not too far, like maybe an hour, maybe a little less, is Milo McIver.
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes.
Yeah. And then there's a host of other pretty nice courses.
You can draw a 45-minute radius around downtown.
Yeah.
And any direction there's a great course.
Yeah.
I do like Mark Hill in the chat said Finland.
Yeah, that's
not a bad option.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's
somebody says the Lat 64 warehouse.
Yeah.
It is a great option as well.
funny.
There's a lot of really cool things to do in the town, and the disc golf course there is one of my personal favorites.
Yeah. Emporia, also a decent option.
Yeah, for the disc golf, not for the
right. That would be more
vacation
of
if you're wanting to do other things.
Right. If you're trying to take a specifically disc golf vacation of like, I want to go somewhere and play as many courses as possible, Emporia is definitely a great spot.
Yeah, especially right at the end of April.
Be a good time.
That would be a great vacation.
Be an
come here for Dynamic Discs Open Week.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's not ideal playing disc golf in the winter when it's really cold out. So Keegan wants to know, at what temperature or amount of snow on the ground do you decide that you will not be playing disc golf that day?
Snow on the ground? That's it.
Right. Yeah. My amount of snow is measurable. If I can see it, I'm not
visible.
there.
Yeah.
Visible.
I would say
that's not entirely true. I would go play in the snow. Just if it's like a Hops and Heisers round or something like that, or we're just going out for fun.
Yeah,
I would definitely play. I've played in 0 degrees weather too, so I mean,
So is that your line then?
Sure, I think so.
Yeah,
mine's probably somewhere around freezing,
and it's not fun. I don't like enjoy going out and hurting my fingers, and you're definitely prone to more injuries when it's cold like that.
I want to get that soundbite of you saying it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. As it like fades away and then fade into us in like big, huge puffy jackets as it's snowing. It's like, all right, we're here to film this video. It's not fun. It's not fun. And then we have fun.
What's yours, AJ? Like 60, 65 degrees? I don't know.
I was going to say 40, but then again, I came out here about a year ago, and we played in 25-degree weather.
Yeah.
It was about that when we played the other night.
Yeah,
with Zach and Doug and
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and both times.
So you're lying.
Both times I had fun. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's tough. If by myself, yeah, like 40 degrees is the line.
Yeah.
But if it's for a tournament, then sure, I'll, maybe 20 degrees and whatever. But if it's just for a fun casual round, I think I'm at that point in my life where it's like, yeah, I can set aside the expectations for an hour or two and just go out and have fun and hit a putt and and make snow angels. It's like that. Like, yeah, that sounds like a great time. And
That sounds like something AJ would 100% do.
It sounds horrible. Snow angels.
and the bit that I would do to open the video would be make a snowman on the tee pad and then just pretend to get angry at the snowman. Like, would you hurry up? Come on. We're trying to play. Like, let us play through. You're just standing there. And it's a snowman. Right? There we go.
I thought you were going to go a different direction. I did a video on that, like, oh man, I don't know, probably like 8 years ago, where I made a snowman and I just threw a bunch of discs into it.
Yeah.
And then it got to be too small. So I think I just like kicked it or I tackled it or something. Very stupid. Last question. I guess I don't know if I answered that. Mine is probably like low 30s, high 20s. If I can wear like a warm undershirt and then like a hoodie and use like some hot hands so I don't kill my fingers,
Yeah.
I'll do it. But if it's anything lower than that, like probably count me out. That's too much for me.
It also depends on the discs because
it also depends on the wind.
yeah, that's
Right,
what,
and it
that's
also-
what Tim says here in the chat. Depends on the wind.
Yeah, it also depends where. Like, if you guys wanted to go play country club this morning when it was 15 degrees, nah. But if it was like, hey, we're just going to go get a quick 9 in at Hammond or something, okay, maybe I'll do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Please, yes, soft and super soft only.
Right.
Because
Yeah. He was throwing nothing but like X Mavericks, X Pures, X Views.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, we went. Yeah, we went out to Hammond, and I asked Zach if I could borrow some discs, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this one's great. It's like my beat-in Fusion X Maverick."
This is an understable
Ow.
brick.
Yeah, it was awful.
Just pick up chunks of ice and throw that.
Yeah.
All right. Last question for this week before we get out of here is from Rob. And Rob says, can you lay out a simple format for windy rounds that's easy to remember? Meaning tailwind, do X, headwind, do Y, etc. So the basic premise that I use is if it's a headwind, I'll go more overstable. If it's a tailwind, I'll go more understable. If for very base level, I would say just keep it at the same speed you would throw. If you're going to throw a neutral fairway driver and it's a headwind, throw an overstable fairway driver. And the same thing applies for tailwinds. If you're going to throw a neutral fairway, throw an understable fairway. It can get more complicated than that. Sometimes you can go up a speed and up a stability depending on the wind or the shot shape or anything like that. Crosswinds are where I get into trouble.
Yeah.
I don't, if I have a left to right headwind.
Overstable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's a right to left headwind?
Straight to stable. Something that I can mash on and get the flip to flat, but not quite flip over. The problem is as soon as you get it to flip over,
You're slammed.
and the wind hits that, it slams. But as soon as you throw it with too much hyzer, the wind gets underneath it and bye-bye.
Right.
So for me, throwing in the wind, it's always about keeping it low
Mm-hmm.
and keeping it level.
Yes.
I like to think of, sorry, chiming in randomly here. I like to think of the disc flying relative to the wind because that's what it's flying, not relative to the ground. So if it's a tailwind, it's like the disc is flying slower.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I had somebody with a lower arm speed throw the same disc. So you can throw the same shot with a slower disc and it's going to go just as far because the wind is helping carry it. So that's how I think about headwinds and tailwinds. And then crosswinds, if you're going for distance, you want to get the wind underneath the disc. Because like in a right to left crosswind, if you throw a big hyzer, that's going to go really far, a lot farther than if you try to crush like a flex Annie or something that's just going to get smacked down right away. Or in a left to right wind, you want to throw like an Annie flex that'll get way up in the air, get the wind underneath it, lifting it. And then.
Oof. I'm sorry, I disagree with you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't think for distance?
Well, for pure distance, maybe,
Yeah.
but like you get a disc too high up in the air like that on the wrong angle.
Mm-hmm.
She's going far.
Yeah.
She's going far the wrong way.
That is
Yeah.
true. That's purely for distance. If I'm trying to go for accuracy, then you want to put the top of the disc into the wind.
Yep.
So a left to right wind, you're trying to get that hyzer shot, or a right to left wind if I can throw a forehand, or just like you're talking about, keep it flat and low.
Yeah. Just don't expose too much
Yeah.
to the wind.
Right.
As I think
I find myself too, if it's windy, almost regardless, I'm finding myself throwing more overstable stuff
for
in
sure.
general, even if
even in a tailwind.
right.
Yeah.
If it's a tailwind throw, more understable kind of mostly applies to drives.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm throwing an approach and I have a tailwind, I'm probably still going to throw a justice or a suspect or a felon, just because I know even if I do something wrong and the wind does get a hold of this, it's not going to get squirrely on me. It's not going to send my disc the wrong way. If anything, it's just going to slam it into the ground. And instead of a 10-footer, I have a 15-footer.
Yeah.
Whereas if I were to throw one of my beat up maidens and the wind carries it, now I have a 40-footer.
This also goes back to the other kind of question of lowering your expectations when you're out there too. So if you are playing a hole at home in a windy day and you do something that you usually don't do, I mean, you got to kind of roll with that, because the wind is
right.
I mean, you can always add a stroke or two to wind.
Yeah.
Every single
Sure.
time.
And if it's extreme, we so the power went out at the warehouse or at the headquarters yesterday. The power went down. Everybody got sent home because we couldn't do anything. And so some of us headed over to Peter Pan and played a little bit. And one person threw, and their disc kind of was coming in on a hyzer, hit the ground. And normally it would kind of just hit and skip and settle right there. And it hit and skipped, and the wind caught it and it was on edge and just did that little wobble for another 10 or 15 feet. Like, if it's not windy, that's never happening. And there's nothing you can do about that. And now, instead of, having a 15-foot putt for your birdie, you have a 35-footer straight into the wind for your birdie. And like, that's much less likely for you to make that putt. So like you said, limit your expectations a lot, especially if you're new to it. I remember when we played in Denver at elevation, I was like, oh, okay, discs are going to be more overstable. So I would just try and go more understable. And it took me a while to get used to having to do that. And so I'm sure for people that aren't used to it or aren't comfortable playing in the wind, it's probably the same thing where, okay, I would normally throw my evader on this, so I have to go to my felon. But I could probably just throw the evader on hyzer or whatever, and then finding the right angle and doing all that stuff. Yeah, it takes practice. It takes time. So
And that's why we're here.
that's why we're here.
We're here to practice and spend our time perfecting our craft. I think one thing in terms of like crosswinds that I learned over time kind of goes back to what you said about the disc hitting the ground and rolling for a while, as being propelled by the wind. Is that the disc has it has multiple parts of its flight. It has a high speed part of its flight, and then a low speed part of its flight. And one thing that I learned by playing Goat Hill, big open ball golf course out in San Diego County, kind of close to the ocean, there was pretty consistent wind coming in off the ocean that was kind of strong too. And it's a long course. And so I would find myself throwing those big drivers, putting them up kind of high to get that distance. And I, over time, I recognized how important it was to just understand that second half of the flight when the disc is slowing down. So what that did is I would choose overstable discs and throw them with anhyzer into a right to left crosswind, knowing that the overstability would eventually counteract that wind push down.
Mhm.
So it's like, so I would throw the disc out with the Anheuser. The wind would be pushing on top of it, but because it was so overstable, eventually it would flatten out and then fade. And then I would kind of get two different actions off of the wind.
Yeah.
So I think there's, that kind of goes into it as well. So when it comes to crosswinds are pretty tricky.
Mhm.
And actually, someone in the comments section mentioned Ron Conver's his wind diagram disc, and then Jacob Torkelson, our media director, posted a link to that said product. So check that one out. There's pretty good info there.
You can get one right now, Dimaxed on a Felon, and I would just make that your windy day disc. Look down at it.
Mhm.
Okay. Boom. It's going to handle the winds, headwind, tailwind, anything like that. You're good. It's a Felon. It's got the information you need right there.
And then there's putting.
Putt with a Felon.
Putting's easy.
Usually it's more spin fights more wind. So if you have more wind, and just try to get more spin on the disc somehow, and
Which can bite you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Windy putting
so?
is a whole different
Go
story.
way past the basket.
Yeah, for real.
When it's windy and you're putting, laying up from 20 feet, there's really no shame in that. Especially if you have any ounce of doubt.
Yeah.
Try to hit the lock.
If you're not playing in a pro tour and you're playing in a windy event, I bet if you laid up everything outside 25, even 20, 25 feet, you're probably making up strokes on the field.
For sure. I would agree with that.
So, yeah.
Headwind lifts a putt, tailwind drops a putt.
Yep.
That's typically if you putt flat to nose up just slightly. Some people do get nose down putts sometimes.
And then flip it.
Yeah. So be aware of that as well.
Mhm.
Because I've definitely seen the nose down putters putting into a tailwind, and it's like, why did that hit the band? Because it's a tailwind putt.
It's called physics.
That your tail is up. So, yeah.
Yeah. Keep it flat. Like Eric said, keep it low, keep it flat. Keep it small in the wind. Put some spin on it. That is all the time we've got. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the YouTube stream. Thank you, everybody, for listening on the audio. If you are in the YouTube stream, we can hang out for a little bit after the show. If you are listening to audio, check us out on YouTube, 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons on youtube.com/dynamic discs.
Yeah, also go Chiefs.